Hey, ISHTUers, welcome to the It Shouldn't Happen to Us podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the art and the science of selling, how they can sometimes be in conflict and tension, but how there's value in that tension. And if you listen all the way to the end, Sophia sums it up like an absolute rock star. Enjoy the pod.
Straight from Miami, this is It Shouldn't Happen to Us. After 30 plus years of selling and training sales teams, we still screw it up sometimes. And this is where we tell you all about it because it shouldn't happen to us. Hey, everybody. Hello, ISHTUers. Welcome back to the pod. Carlos, tell me about that deal that you just closed.
The one I mentioned, hey, hello everybody, and hi Sophia.
Hi.
The deal I mentioned in the last episode.
Yes, that one.
It was cool. It was cool. It wasn't an easy deal to close. It wasn't the biggest deal. It was it was a big rabbit. It wasn't a deer. It was a big rabbit, but it was a nice deal. But it wasn't easy.
Okay, why not?
He was a tricky, what do we always say? There's no such thing as a bad prospect. There's only bad salespeople. He wasn't a bad prospect, but he was one of those guys where I had to dance on the line of pain and gain, right? I had to dance on that line of pain and gain. I had to be negative and positive at the same time. And I had to structure my conversations. Architect of conversations, right? He was a handful as well, so he wanted to keep a lot of control. But he was such a sort of a high D style that it got to the point where I think it was probably a DC, which means I wasn't getting a lot of feedback energy from him. And so to stay inspirational, to inspire him around the solution that together we'll build, whilst at the same time being, that chipping away at the objections, chipping away at the disqualifiers. So to stay very qualification focused without losing positivity. That was that dance that I had to dance. And that's where, the science and the art come together. That's the art of sales, right? Is that dance. That's part of the art of sales, is that dance to stay negative and
do you
positive
think
at
that
the same time.
ISHTUers who have listened to us before, well, obviously if they're ISHTUers, they've listened to us before. Anyways, we always talk about process, and yes, that's the science part. But I think what today's episode is about is more of that art, that idea that structure frees creativity. When you're married to your process, you can be more hyper present isn't a thing. You can be hyper present in a sales situation, so that you can pay attention to what's happening in the room at a psychological level. It's like when you know the rap and the lyrics, you can be more present and focus on the art of influence, of inspiring. Is that more or less what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. I think that is right. It's that science and art comes together. The science is the process, knowing the questions, architect of a conversation. Have you done your pre-call plan? Are you ready with your questions? Have you done your research? All the sciencey parts. Then there's the art part, and you can't even get to that art part if in the boxing match that is the conversation, in that spar that is the conversation, if you're thinking about the technical side too much, you haven't got enough. I don't think I've got enough bandwidth to free up that creative side, to be hyper present, to identify this is a moment for inspiration, this is a moment for qualification. And I think those two things are in tension. It's a healthy tension. But there's a tension between qualifying, so I'm looking for all the reasons not to do it, and inspiring a great decision, which means I'm looking for I'm aligning with my prospect, behind my prospect towards a greater vision.
Yes.
And those two things are in tension, right? Because I've seen these sales guys that are so doom and gloom. They're all qualification. Oh, and it's a little Eeyore, right? We've had people on our team that are a little Eeyore, a little like, oh, this isn't going to work. This is never going to happen. You don't want to do this deal.
But it's also like you can just, it also not only Eeyore, Carlos, but like they disqualify people off the table. And it's like, wait. What's coming to mind for me right now is our buddy Brian Kavicki. If you're listening to this, what up, Brian? It's like, and he uses maybe more religious language, but he says, universe or God, bring me people that I can help and let me figure out whether they deserve my help or not. I like more that train of thought, whether it's universe, God, or world, whatever you subscribe to, ISHTUers. I like the idea of because it's, Carlos, we were just talking about this before we hit record. They're sitting in an office with you. They're sitting on a Zoom with 60 minutes blocked off. They're sitting there for a reason. Obviously, there's pain. If in your world you call it pain, right? What are the 3 buying reasons? Pain, fear, or gain. They're sitting there with you because they've got a pain or they've got a fear or they want to gain something. And so if we're trying to disqualify them so hard, we might be missing the fact that, wait a minute. There's also that part where I got to reinforce their decision to reach out to me in the first place. Right.
So here's where my mind goes, right? And this is going to sound a little weird. This is going to, I'm going to,
not unusual for us.
Yeah. But here's where my mind goes. I always think of Michelangelo. Okay. So Michelangelo, there's an old story, an old adage. And by the way, I think it's been proven that he never said this, but there's like what's he call that? Like urban myth, right? There's a myth. Yeah. That Michelangelo was asked how he created David. You know the statue David? And by the way, you should see the SNL sketch.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Brilliant. I only saw it recently about the model that posed for for Michelangelo's David. Anyway, so there's an old myth, an adage that that Michelangelo said. When somebody asked him, hey, how did you create this work of extraordinary beauty? And by the way, if you've never seen David, it is breathtaking. And Michelangelo said, I took the marble and I chipped away everything that wasn't David.
Yes, I've heard that before.
Now, it isn't true, but it's brilliant. Right. I mean, it isn't true.
God,
but it is brilliant.
Just simply chipped away what shouldn't be there.
And I think that's my approach to qualification. So inside there's a vision of the future, and you chip away at the things that are going to get that are getting in the way of that future. You chip away at that you have the money conversation. You figure you qualify on money. You qualify on reason to do business. You qualify on decision making. You organize your sales process to do that in the right order, in the right way. But in there is David. In there is the inspiration, the real raison d'etre. And we both know that pain is the principal motivator for action. I get that. But it's a pretty sad tale, right? We're not emergency room surgeons. It would be, don't we want to also inspire towards that long-term vision, towards the David inside the marble, towards the future, certainly with what we do. Now, it's not for everybody, but with what we do, there are pain-motivated clients, there are gain-motivated clients, and there are most people are kind of both.
Yeah, in any world, though, wouldn't you say, Carlos, like even if it's software sales, like, yes, they're going to have pains. And granted, I'm sure there's listeners on here that are doctors. Doctors have no problem uncovering pain. And that's more of a 911 emergency. Oh, yeah, I need to get blood work, or I need to do a CAT scan, or I need to get surgery, right? But for those of us who finding the pain is the solution isn't going to be as urgent, we also, in that art, want to have that prospect thinking to themselves, damn, I am struggling, frustrated, annoyed, pissed off. It's giving me heartburn. And I believe that this is the guy that's going to help me out. Like there has to be that air in that meeting of Carlos is going to be the person to help me out. He's going to be the hand that's going to help pull me out. This product, this service, I'm getting a good feeling about this. I feel like this guy is picking up what I'm putting down. He's understanding me. I believe that he can help me. And
this
we
is the
spark
art.
that belief through the art.
This is the art. The way that we train our clients, the methodology that we use, the system that we use is a little negatively positioned for sure. It's pain fueled. But I think we miss something. I think we misuse it when we lose the inspirational part. And that's the art. What's the mix what's the salt and the sweet mix that's needed for this recipe for this customer? What's my mix of salt and sweet? What's my pain gain mix? And so it's what do we always tell our clients? Principal job of a salesperson is to inspire a great decision in full light of the fact that the prospect, first of all, doesn't think they need our help, right? They don't think they need our help to make a great decision. They think their process is going to make a great decision, and it never does. So we've got to inspire them. And it's only in the sales event, the selling event, where I'm feeding off the energy of the prospect. Only then can I make that determination. How much inspiration am I mixing in here? How much pain qualification am I mixing in here? And if you get it too far one way, if you make it all inspire, you don't get any urgency and any action. Take it too far the other way, and it's all doom, gloom, and misery, then nobody wants to work with that guy, right? Who wants that guy in their life? So it's a balance. And I think you and I
it's a balance.
Are pretty good at walking that tightrope, at figuring out in the room, what does this guy need? What does this guy need?
You got to be able to read the room. You've got to be able to read the room. That is, I don't know if it's EQ. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like what you say sometimes, Carlos, which is if you feel like you're arm wrestling them. Now, if you're sitting in there, you've come in with a great pre-call plan. You've got great questions. You're participating in that art of inspiring, motivating, optimism, but still asking great questions, trying to qualify or disqualify all the while. And that prospect is sort of giving you energy that, let's say, for example, as they're in this meeting with you, they're realizing that this really isn't a great time. This really isn't the initiative right now. Hey, we have to be present in that room. And the salesperson might be thinking to themselves, oh, time to arm wrestle them, time to convince, persuade. That's not the motivation, inspiration we're talking about here. It's really about be here now, be here in this meeting. And if you're sensing anxiety build up within that prospect, because as you're having this great conversation, they're realizing, damn, I got a lot of pots on the stove right now. And while I'm really enjoying this conversation, I'm also realizing this is not the time. It is the right thing to do to say, hey, listen, it's not about disqualifying it. Looks like I can't help you, dude. It's really about saying, listen, sounds like you got a lot of things in the hopper right now. I know we can help you. This is what we help our clients with every single day. But we want to move forward if it's a hell yeah. If it's I like that language. If it's not a hell yes, let's put it on pause. Put it on pause. Get clear next steps. Put it on pause. But that idea of reading the room, some of our listeners might be thinking, how do you get better at reading the room? What would you say, Carlos? What tips can we give our ISHTUers? How can you get better at reading the room?
So I love, what a great question. So here's my guidance. You haven't got enough bandwidth available to you to read the room if all you're thinking about is what's your next question and how to handle what they're throwing at you. If you can't read the room, it isn't because you lack humanity. It's because you lack practice. You've not put the reps in. Why is it that now I'm going to expose my terrible knowledge of American football? What's that guy?
Exposed.
What's the guy who's the quarterback that everyone says is the best? Tom Brady. So why is it that Tom Brady looks up and knows exactly, he can read the pitch and know exactly the right throw? Is it because he's wired in some crazy way? No, it's not inhuman. He's practiced so much that he hasn't got to think about the execution. He can instantly read the pitch. He's so practiced. It's sweat. It's reps. And if you're feeling like I can't read the room, let me tell you, you've not got enough practice. Some people say to us, yeah, I'm very experienced. They're not experienced. They've had a lot of years in the field, but they've been doing the same thing. They haven't had the coach. They haven't had, what is it? Antonio always says, wisdom is considered experience. They haven't had a coach, a trainer help them consistently get better. And so they're not learning from the mistakes.
Leaders, ISHTUers that are leaders listening today. This is reps. Reps can also happen in role-playing sessions. Also, what kind of things are we measuring? Are we sending, what do our pipeline reviews look like? Because I think it's okay to be a little attached to the outcome. I think it's okay. Can we just put it out there, Carlos? It's okay to want the order. It's okay to want to work. Absolutely. I feel like
but
be curious, be skeptical. Us. Exactly. Be curious, be skeptical, not attached to the outcome. But it's okay to want the deal. Now, if what's being measured, if you're in a sales call and you're just thinking about the phone call you're going to make to your manager, or when you get back to the office and your sales leader is going to ask you, so how did it go? Leaders listening, I like the question from John Rosso. How did it end? What are the next steps? But if you're thinking about closing this person, or you're thinking about what you're going to say to your manager, that's going to cloud your ability to be very hyper present, not very hyper present, just hyper present in the meeting.
You love your very hyper present. I like that question from a sales manager. How did it end? How did it go is the worst question that a sales manager can ask a salesperson. How did it go? Because what they always get, great. It was great.
Awesome. Oh,
which is, great. By the way, the worst answer for you to hear. It was great. They love this. They love
They like me. I think they like me.
I think they like me. It's so weak sauce, right? How did it end is strong. How did it end is strong sauce. How did it go is weak sauce. Yeah. But to your point, the way to get better at that EQ, or really it's actually an MQ issue. It's a mirror quotient issue. It's understanding yourself. Ooh. To get better at MQ and EQ is reps, because the easier you can do the mechanics of sales, the science of sales, it opens up the art of sales. It opens that up. And so how do we do that? We do it with reps. We do it with practice. We do it with role play. We do it with coaches. We work with coaches. I work with a coach. You work with a coach.
We do it with coaches. Yes,
coaches. And Antonio would always say that's the what's Confucius? A man with a watch knows the time. A man with two watches never quite sure. It's not a great idea to have two or three.
Don't overdose on coaching. What's another thing is...
Go ahead.
I was going to say call recordings. Reviewing call recordings.
Brilliant. But I have two coaches. I have three, but two main ones. And one of them, so doom and gloom. It's like, God, can you get off my ass for once in your life? Why are you kicking my ass? Now, I understand why accountability is so important. I am a coach for many of my clients. And of course, accountability and of course, challenge. But can we be a little bit inspirational too? Can we mix in there a little bit of cheerleading just once?
Lord knows we already beat the shiving lits out of ourselves. I mean, I think everyone's their own worst critic. Right. I get enough from the own noise between my ears. Can I get a little... pull me out of it?
I believe that when we're talking to a prospect, a great salesman who understands the art of sales as well as the science of sales, they're coaches for that prospect. They're coaching a great decision, which has got a mix of accountability, challenge on one side, and inspiration. You got to see David inside the marble. You can't just hack away at that marble. You'll just end up with bits of marble around you. Right? You've got to see David in the middle there and inspire. So, what cool topic. Be curious, be skeptical. Don't be attached to the outcome. But hey, inspirational too. Bring some personality.
And how about be curious, be skeptical, not attached to the outcome, and be inspirational, motivational,
connect with them.
Connect with them. Also, are they logging off of that call leaving Zoom meeting or getting in their car feeling better than they were when you found them.
That I love. Your humanity plus, to put it in Vishen's language, if you've ever read what was his one, the unlocking the I can't remember. I've read two of his, something code. Vishen says, are you humanity plus? Are you bringing some, is that guy or gal's life better for having met you? On the one side, now, what do we always tell our clients? What did they learn? What did the prospect learn today? Because if you've not taught them anything, you haven't earned the business. If they don't think in a new way about their challenge, you've not earned the business.
No,
you've not earned the business until
love that.
They have learned something from you.
Light bulb
and
moments.
You've not won the business until you've inspired them and made them better. I know sometimes you look at when we do call reviews of our team, miserable bastards, some of them, like some people must come off the call like they've just been through
sage
water
myself.
Yeah. Terrible.
I have to do a walk around the block. Guys, inspire, motivate, ask hard questions, pre-call plan, have your mindset right, come with curiosity, come to a meeting, a sales call as a meeting with another human being. Get to know someone on a deeper level, get to know their world on a deeper level, and watch, and the results will follow. In the words of Funkadelic, just free your mind and your ass will follow. But that's a different topic.
You can't beat a Funkadelic quote.
No?
You can't beat a Funkadelic quote, right? You
can't beat a Funkadelic quote. And you know what? In the wise words of Funkadelic, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That's our only price. That's your end of the bargain.
Hey, that's the pod. So it's good selling, guys. It's goodbye from Sophia.
And it's goodbye from Carlos. Thanks.
Goodbye now.
For listening.